Access Radio, the future of radio and podcast. No limit to what we do.
Access Radio, WIAX, the future of radio and podcast. No limit to what we do.
Janelle, celebrity vocal coach right here, and I am a part of Give It Life. Sexy and ratchet, and real extra ratchet, raunchy ladies.
That'll be everywhere, like.
What we got coming up? Other shops is upstairs, but we out here by also, man. This got hit a walk off the set. We leave that up to Rita.
Welcome back. Good to be here. Thanks for rocking out with us this Saturday morning, August 5th. We're happy to be here. Welcome back to New World, Old Views. To the left of me, I got Big Vern.
Here again, man. Good to be back.
To the right of me, I got Manny.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all tuning in as always.
And always rocking out with us on the boards. We got the one and only Big Al. Once again, you are rocking with iAccess Radio, the voice of the voiceless. Let's talk about it, fellas. How was y'all week, man? How's life treating y'all?
Good, man.
How
busy. Staying busy. Good in good health. Can't complain.
That's it, man.
Another day above ground, family. Everybody's in good health.
That's the most important thing. That
can't
health.
complain too much.
That
Some
health
people
is
didn't wake
definitely
up this morning, so
Yeah. I recently got
appreciate
word.
another day above ground, man.
Yes, I recently got word that one of my former coworkers, she passed away. I believe it was Thursday or something like that. So yeah, man, we just gotta appreciate life because once we go on here, that's all that mattered was the impact, the impression that we left. So we good. How you feeling, Manny?
Good, man. Good. Can't complain. Just same old.
Yes,
As you said, any day above ground is a good day.
That's it, man. So listen, man. Football season is pretty much back.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy July because we didn't get too much. All we had was summer league basketball, but now we got the preseason kicking off. They just had the Hall of Fame game between the Browns and the Jets. I believe the Browns came back and won 21-17, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Are y'all excited for what the new season is going to offer in football?
It should be interesting. I mean, that's the thing about football. I feel like it's always kind of a wild card. It's different. I feel like in other sports, you kind of, I guess have an assumption or can kind of guess, what teams are gonna be placed towards the top. But football, you just never know. You just never know. On any given day, any team could lose, any team could win.
True indeed, man. I'm hyped about it, man. Let's go Giants and Niners. Once Wiz start tuning in, he a Cowboy fan, so he gonna Cowboys. Yeah, I know, right? I can't rep that, man. I was just telling one of my coworkers last night, we don't rep any of the Cowboys paraphernalia, none of the Eagles, none of that stuff. We don't bump that, no sir.
Listen, whatever's your team is your team.
Yeah. Of course. No, of course. But also, we were just talking about it. Also going into the NBA season coming up soon. What you think, man? You think Portland finally gonna let go of Dame and let him get traded to the Heat?
We'll see.
You know what?
I'd like that setup,
You know
though.
what?
I'd like it with
Hold
the
on.
Heat.
Well, I'm sorry. Before we do that, put yourself in the GM shoes of Portland. What are you doing? And shout out to our 3 viewers kicking it with us, tuning in right now.
Appreciate you guys, man.
What you doing if you're the GM of Portland? I'm asking both of y'all this question because remember, this is all business. You know what I mean?
True.
I love Dame. Now let's talk about it.
I mean, of course, if I'm looking at it from a GM perspective, if I'm going to release one of our franchise player, I definitely got to gain something in return. So it has to be an even exchange. I'm sure as a GM, I don't think they would want to just give up Dame and not get nothing back in return. To give up a player of Dame's caliber, I'm sure you would want something in return of equal value or close to equal value.
Right.
So,
I mean, yeah, it's like I said. At the end of the day, the NBA is not just basketball; it is a business. So I mean, obviously, in any form of capitalism, you want to equal exchange. If you're giving something, you want to get something. So, I mean, I don't know what that type of trade would look like with Portland and Miami, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think as far as when it comes to the money aspect of the actual trade guidelines and stuff like that, it has to be around 20 to 30% of like the contracts have to match within that percentile in order for whether it's in a culmination of one player's contract with draft picks and stuff like that. So from a standpoint of Portland, I guess you're doing a rebuild process, but you don't just take anything because of whatever. Like, granted, you love what Dame has done. He's been a loyalist. He's been very supportive. He's been there.
And the organization ain't really putting enough talent around him. Put some talent around him.
I gotta understand how the business, like I said, the business of basketball works. The business of basketball within itself, that whole company and sport within itself is so much tougher because sometimes I believe media plays a huge part of it because what do they do? Most of the time they promote Los Angeles Lakers and Celtics. Granted, those sometimes they can have like 10 years of not being that good. But when it all comes back to it, what do they promote? They promote the big markets. Now, New York hasn't reaped the rewards of being a big market, but for the most part, they promote big markets. That's why now, finally, you hear about, I think, where Dame was just like, all right, I want out. That was mainly because of the draft pick. But what I'm saying is that sometimes you can't get certain names that you want in order to come to your team. It's just not happening. That's why you could get an Anthony Davis to go to LA or whatever. Granted, LeBron played a major part of that and stuff like that.
See that record, that contract Anthony Davis just signed?
Ridiculous. But this is what I'm saying. When you have money to burn and give out, it is what it is. Why is it ridiculous? If some people ask me, I'll tell you right now. Because his track record in regards to his injuries is not that they're not worth that type of pay. You already made what you made in the league, and you've shown your work. You've shown your work.
I do want to say one.
If I'm telling you, I'll be one of the worst GMs in the world.
Shout out to an NBA player, Jaylen Brown, man.
Oh yeah, yes.
I like what I heard.
Deserved.
I like what I heard from him up on that podium. What he was saying, man. Like,
what did he say?
He talked about that contract that he's getting. He wants to use that money and create a Black Wall Street in Boston. He wants to take that money and invest it into Black communities, schools, things of that nature, institutions. Just the fact that he voiced it, though.
No,
I appreciate it.
No, I like the sound of it. But when you voice your moves,
that's the things where people were saying. You don't talk, We
already know that he's pro-Black. He's for the movement.
And you think the institute, the power structure is going to allow you to use the money that they give you.
This is what I be trying to tell you. When that money
uplift
is coming,
so I just appreciated him voicing that because you don't hear stuff like that from athletes in today's day and age that speak so boldly and true like that. First, when he says, I want to take this money, create a Black Wall Street, invest it in our communities, man. We have to change and fix the issues and rectify those issues in our communities. I just appreciated hearing him say that. And I didn't even know he's Muslim.
Well,
Jalen Brown.
okay.
Yeah.
No, very much so. I appreciate it.
He's going so.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was.
I just hope like with him doing that in the community or whatever. I don't know if he's gonna do it in the Boston area.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You say that's what he wants to do in
Right.
the Boston area and
I
other
don't-
areas where it's needed. So he just.
I haven't lived in Boston.
I just hope-
I've heard certain things about Boston, so I hope they don't turn against him. Because remember, they only in support of him because he there playing for him. Playing for him. But hopefully,
I just appreciated those sentiments coming from
me
him.
too. We definitely need that. How many times have we discussed this?
Definitely.
You know, hopefully he'll have more people that's willing to do it. Not to say that they don't. We just don't know about it, and sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't need to know about it so much because first
Yeah,
off,
that's what people were saying too. Like sometimes you don't expose your card. You probably shouldn't have said it publicly while just move in silence and all this and that. Which I get to a certain degree, but sometimes you just, it just was good to just hear just hear a black athlete talk like that and say that one that just signed the richest contract in NBA history.
Absolutely, well deserved. Although some people don't believe so, well deserved. Go ahead,
I
man.
appreciate it.
No, I was gonna say, man, and also it's at the end of the day, it's always gonna be a group effort. And but like I said, I appreciate him saying something like that because most professional athletes aren't talking like that. Yeah, it's still always going to be the group collective, but that's how it starts.
Yes.
You see a multi-million-dollar black man say something like that. That's how it starts. So I would hope at least he could then start to gain some traction with something like that.
Okay. But, so I believe it's more of a gift for him to voice it than a curse possibly.
It'll be a double-edged sword.
I was just about to say it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet.
Because remember what you just said. It's great to hear somebody voice it, but sometimes people are, like when you don't do it and you possibly move in silence, you hear people go on social media and say, "Well, why haven't we heard it?" But sometimes, like you're not here to report everything. You're not here to know every single thing that a person is doing, a celebrity is doing. They could pour their money into certain things and sometimes you don't know whether it actually went to the proper cause or not, but maybe they're pouring money into something that their hope is actually going to the proper foundation, the proper organization, for the betterment of whatever it is.
I hope so. I just hope his stance and what he said. I just hope it's not not used against him or try to be used against him. Because you also got to remember too, he was one of the other ones that supported Kyrie when he was going through that whole situation with that whole with the whole Israel and all of that stuff. Right. He was one of the ones that came out and was just like, yo, listen, if you gonna hold him accountable, hold Amazon, hold Jeff Bezos accountable.
Yeah.
So
who's gonna do that? But
I know, I'm just saying he was just speaking on the fairness of it. Like, let's stop castigating this one man in the media and holding him to a standard and judging him, but we're not doing that to the platform that's promoting it, the same film. So
being a movie critic, like
exactly. So he
never even said whether he supported it or not. Literally just put up a link to them.
Let me ask you though, on sports though, you saw that fight?
Oh, yes I did. Yes I did. I forgot about to mention that. Listen, well I don't know because I think I like Crawford. To you that day. Because I know a lot of people were going with Spence.
I know everybody. I picked Crawford. I picked Crawford to win.
This is what I tell people all the time. I don't know. I've heard of their names before. I haven't seen like tons of their fights. But I always do go like this. I never underestimate the underdog, number one. Number two, listen.
Bro, he's about he's about to be could possibly be undisputed.
Yeah. Listen,
Spence, isn't he like the first to be undisputed now in
two different weight classes? Yeah, he's the first.
Yeah.
Spence was going after round 2.
So you know who I'm putting him above.
Don't get me wrong.
You know who I'm putting him above. Huh? You know who I'm putting him above.
Wait, you said he's the first pound for pound in possibly 2 weight classes?
No. He's the first to be undisputed in two different classes.
He's not better than Floyd. If that's
Floyd was never undisputed though.
I don't give a damn what.
Yeah, all right.
The track record speaks
cherry picking. That's why.
But no, I like Bud.
Undisputed is when you go and you clear the weight class. You go find out who's the top and other, and you clear it. That's undisputed.
Well, listen, man.
Your
Please
boy
don't-
Mayweather never
I
did
hope
that.
you don't
Respect
support
Mayweather.
this.
Love him.
I hope you
Great
don't support
boxer, one of the
this, man.
greats of all time, but he never did that.
I was speaking to a court. Listen, man. When it came down to Floyd Mayweather, whether it was at his height, whether it was on his come up when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, listen, whomever it was, when they said, "Oh, I want to see Floyd fight this person," because Floyd ain't fought nobody. Floyd ain't fought nobody. Okay, bring him up. Easy work. Back to business. Word, I want to see him fight this person. I think he got something for Floyd.
Who?
Okay.
Who you talking about?
What are you talking about? You want me to name names? You want me to name names?
Because don't act like he be like Floyd's competition was decent.
So hold on. When we do something like
And he
that,
cherry picked. And he
let me ask
cherry
you a
picked.
question.
You wait
No,
till guys are past
let me
their
ask you
peak
a
and fight
question.
them. Stop
Let me
it.
ask
We
you a
ain't gonna do
question.
this. See, this is
Let me
why I
ask you a
can't say you
question.
brought
Yeah,
a boxing
before
with
we-
this guy.
Before we
I
get
know
to
he
the next
gonna do this.
topic, no, we're gonna talk about this part first off. Before you do that, for these people to be decent, that means that maybe he was just that damn great, or maybe they weren't just decent. Maybe they were very good.
But
He
you're
was
as good
just
as your
beyond them.
you're as good as your competition.
Well, he's going in different weight classes.
I always
so
say
he's going in different weight classes, and even when he wasn't even the puncher that he was, because when he moved up in different weight classes, he changed up his style more and whatever. But in every weight class, he reigned supreme.
Was he undisputed?
Whether you want him a
that's
puncher
reigning
or stuff like
supreme
that.
though. Undisputed is reigning supreme.
What? To each his own.
No, that's not to each his own.
He never
Undisputed
lost.
mean
He
you
never
reign.
lost.
There's
He
a
was
lot of
destroying
boxers that never
everybody.
lost. He's not the only one y'all
That's
thought
true.
kill me with this 50 and 0. That don't mean anything.
Hold on.
There's boxers that have way more impressive resumes than that.
That
Sugar
may
Ray
sound
Leonard,
true.
Sugar Ray Robinson
that's
won
why
123 and 0 before he lost his first fight.
So he lost.
At 123 and 0.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Come on, bro, stop it.
Listen, that's outstanding. I'm not taking that
that's
away
outstanding.
From,
but you over here talking about 50 and 0.
Like what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, it's a collective of everything. It's the marketing behind you. It's you marketing yourself. You.
I'll give you that now. His marketing,
all of that comes into the
that. No, we talk about in the ring.
Boxing.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm talking about him in the ring. His marketing and his business ventures outside. I give you that.
Just keep doing boxing because what I'm saying is it's all tied into the boxing game.
But I give you the businessman. He's a great businessman. I give you that.
What I'm saying is that if you just locked up people if you just locked it in to these are people are just all of these people are undefeated. So now you have to go to different tiers to separate them. Correct? You have to go to different sliders in order to separate them. Because if you want to talk about skill and defensive work, and we want to just keep
then it will go to resumes. Then if we're talking about a group of different people who's undefeated, then the next thing I will go to is resumes. Who did they beat?
Then we can also do defensive style. We can do all different types of things. But there are going to be more different things that's going to be added to the list sooner or later. But I'm not here to
this guy, man.
To break down the fight. Listen,
he beat the brakes off Spence.
It was a great first 2 rounds.
He beat the brakes off Spence.
What happened was once Spence went down in the second round, okay, we were watching. We were like, all right, depending on how he does in the third round will dictate how this fight is going to continue. Third round, he came back, gathered himself to some degree, but you saw in that third round that he was being overzealous. He was trying to overcompensate and try to get back that point by knocking Crawford down.
Crawford got a good boxing IQ, man.
No, he does. But
his defense, the way he puts his gloves up and protect and absorbs the punch like that, his deep easy.
If you look at the first round, what Spence did was fine. I think when he went down in that second round, it got to him. He thought, and then after that point, I saw Spencer swinging wildly, not even keeping his guard up. That's when Crawford.
Spence tried to utilize his size
the whole time.
Spence kept trying to be a pressure and kept pressuring him and trying to utilize his size and his height.
The first round was fine.
Yeah, but I think the first round was Crawford feeling him out.
Right, that's fair.
I think once Crawford was feeling him out, then he started tagging him with the jab. It was he.
Before we end though, we want to talk about counterpunching. There's nobody that, from what I've seen, that compares to Floyd on that level. We'll leave it at that. So
Because
listen,
Floyd's a great counterpunch. I will admit that he is.
absolutely,
He's an exceptional counterpunch.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Bud Crawford, Terrence Bud Crawford. I'm waiting to see who he's gonna fight next. But that was a master class.
That
man.
was.
And you were great. And then Errol Spence, shout out to you,
you
man.
too,
Way
bro.
to go out like a warrior.
He took it like a champ.
Yeah, you took it like a champ.
He took it like
and
a
listen,
champ.
man, the road doesn't stop here. This is not a dead end. Just get back up on it. Now you know what to do. Listen, there's still a win and a loss. What that means is now you know what to work on and how to better yourself. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm sure they'll have a rematch. You think?
Well, there was a rematch clause, but I think he said that he might want to fight at 154. Only problem is Bud is the champ. Bud sets the standard now. He sets the rules.
I heard something about Mayweather saying something about he wanted to come out of retirement and challenge Bud. Was that nonsense?
No, I did see something about that. I doubt
Here's
it.
what I'll tell you. I don't know if that's true. I didn't hear that.
Okay.
I did see something about that.
I was like, is that true?
Like once we just said though, Floyd is one of the greatest marketers there is.
I would hope he wouldn't come back to the ring though.
No, he probably gets some more talking about.
Oh, okay. That's like, bro, don't do that. Don't do that.
You know, he taking exhibition fights to get money and get everything.
Yeah, don't do that.
For him, no, he's way out.
He's way
out of shape.
He's he has his reflexes and stuff.
His reflexes are off. He's not ready to fight on.
You seen that against the Logan bro. Even though he beat him, you could still see he's not as elite with his. He was actually competing in the ring. Yeah, he can't. Yeah, okay.
He probably not sparring with actual top tier boxers anymore. So it's.
But I heard Spence hurt him when they had did like a sparring session.
With Floyd?
He had Spence had hurt Floyd. That's how people were talking about.
What was this?
This was like back in 2013.
Wow, really?
Yeah, they
when
said
Floyd was
maybe
still boxing. I mean, he wasn't at his height.
He was.
Time,
I don't know if it's around that time, but they said Spence. That's why people was shocked the way. That's the comparisons between Spence and Floyd came in because they said Spence made a little difficult for Floyd in the sparring session, but then Crawford just came out and smoked him. So that's when they started to. I mean, you can't really go by that. But like I said, I just thought I asked about that whole Mayweather coming out of retirement. But I'm happy that. Please don't do that. Don't do that.
But we're gonna switch gears now. Talk about the importance of what you
your boy
speak about, man.
Governor DeSantis over here, man. That's saying that they have that whole pushback that he has in the state of Florida and there with the critical race theory against being against it, how that shouldn't be taught in schools. And he then said something to the effects that slavery was a good thing for black folk. It's beneficial for them.
Did he go into detail in regards to that, or did he just say it was a good thing?
He literally said it was beneficial, and he's against critical race theory.
So explain critical race theory.
Critical race theory is pretty much it's a curriculum where they want to put it in schools where you teach people or the whole general population of the crimes of crimes that white people have committed against people of color.
Yeah, basically slavery just analyzes races' place in history.
Yeah, racism role in history.
That's all it really is.
Yeah. And white people feel that their children shouldn't be taught that because I guess it'll muster up white guilt within them and they don't want to be. I guess it's that they don't want to relive what they've done, so they want it to be forgotten, swept under the rug, and they don't want to talk about it. But my issue is, but you still teach the Holocaust in school. We're still taught about that constantly. So imagine telling students to forget about the Jewish Holocaust. We're not going to teach that no more. We're going to sweep that under the rug. People don't need to know about that. We don't do that. People and children are inundated with that constantly in school.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
So why can't we talk about critical race theory and the experience of what black people have gone through in this country at the hands of white people?
I get what you're saying.
The whole power dynamic. So when you talk about racism, it pulls back layers on certain things. The power dynamics, it'll be exposed. We could talk about institutional racism. Things that how institutions and corporations and the structures of government, how it's set up and regulated and controlled by Caucasians.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think you hear it time and time again? Do you think they're viewing it from let's stop using that as a crutch So we're past that point to where slavery isn't the same, because you know how I feel about slavery regardless, but it's not the same. So let's not possibly keep teaching that as a crutch, and being used as a crutch, as opposed to somebody might think it was a part of our history, and it must always be known that we, no matter what, we have a plight that is different than most cultures. Well, to in the recent past, because like I said, from what they say in history books, like every culture has been enslaved to some degree. So
See,
like I
but
said, in recent
I
history in
would
regards to the United States.
I would say act like essentially what conservatives want is to pretend that race never played any critical role in the founding and the infrastructure of American society, and that would just be disingenuous to just act like that's not the case.
Okay.
You wouldn't hear anybody have any pushback if there was a class taught on the Holocaust. That that's considered a normal part of history. Jews even still have a holiday that they celebrate, Passover, which apparently references slavery back in ancient Egypt. So if we're only certain cultures are not given the same rhetoric of let it go that black people get when we want to talk about the history of America. And we're not talking about something that's ancient. Like, we're talking about Jim Crow and redlining. This stuff is, still within 100 years ago. So I don't. And I've been in college when they've had critical race theory classes. Like I said, it analyzes stuff that actually happened. It only goes over races. It goes over the role race played in American history. So it's not even introducing anything new. It's just talking about what happened. So if anybody's uncomfortable talking about what actually happened, that's more so about you than anything else.
Exactly. And that's why they don't want to teach it in school. Because some white people, they don't want to experience white guilt or feel bad for what they've done and for what their ancestors done. But you don't have a problem teaching the Holocaust.
Right. Well, I look at it like this: if you weren't here when that time came as a Caucasian person, you don't have to feel the guilt. Now, if you allow yourself to implement those ideologies in a day-to-day standpoint, which I believe most people do, but it might just be from a prejudicial standpoint. But if you actually utilize the ideologies, if it will pass down into your family throughout generation, which some still do, it helps keep them from their standpoint superior. Whatever. We already know the long game that we have to play. However, yes, you are correct. It should still be in school. If you wanna do that, then hey, then you know what? Then if you want to separate schooling and stuff like that, to where black students will have to, if we want to go back to different type of schooling, if you want to take that out, they no, because black students and black people should be able to know what lied in their history, because it can, first off, your history can be an outline for your present and your future.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, take Jaylen Brown's situation, with him knowing his history and his past, even the present right now. That's what wants to help him empower and better the communities that are that are in disarray, and that could be stemming from slavery or whatever, Jim Crow, redlining. You understand what I'm saying? So
another thing too that I hear that they say, they say this to try to diminish the effects of slavery, is when I hear people say, "Oh, all cultures, everybody was all enslaved." When you look for, they'll be like, "Oh no, look, the Irish was enslaved, and or the
Italians.
French and the Italians," but that's at the hands of other white people. That's white people
Also, we
enslaving.
have to acknowledge
That's white people enslaving other white people.
Yeah.
So that's not an example. The point is, the white people have gone throughout the planet. They have caused more. They have committed more crimes against humanity than any other race of people in existence in the history of this planet. It's not even remotely close. Who dropped the bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima?
Oh, don't do that.
I'm going to do
But
that. I said history-wise. I said crimes against humanity.
I saw the movie. We could talk.
We could talk about who did that. Who won out? Who came to America and evaporated 3 million Native Americans within a span of a month? Who went to Australia and eliminated the whole race, the Tasmanian people? They have been eliminated out of existence. Okay, we can go on and on and on and on. What I'm saying is that whole argument about everybody being enslaved, that is nonsense. Yes, other people have been enslaved, but to the degree it was never about their skin color. Like the Pope literally legitimized slavery. The Pope and based it off skin color. And the Pope at that time was the most powerful institution on the planet. Still is. Yeah. Vatican is still the most powerful institution on the face of the planet. Yeah. So this whole argument that these people were enslaved over here, and it's not. They say that's extremely disingenuous, and that's said to diminish the experience and the effects of American slavery over here and what people of color have gone through. I can't stand it. You hear that rhetoric come from a lot of conservatives. They come with that nonsense.
Well, I was saying to add to that, just when you analyze what slavery was in other cultures prior to chattel slavery in America, it's two very different. What that word means is very different than what it means now. Especially, Mansa Musa, for example, one of the richest men in history. A lot of people that say, "Oh, he was an African man and he owned slaves." When you look at what was considered slavery in that system back then, slaves could run for positions in government. It was basically work. It was indentured servitude.
Indentured servitude.
You would work for a certain amount of time, but you have to understand what chattel slavery did for America is it stripped their culture. It made it illegal for them to educate themselves, and then the world. I don't think there was any other form of slavery where the world, almost the entire world, essentially benefited from that group of people being enslaved. You have to understand that with Africa, with the slice of Africa, the continent of Africa, nations of Europe came together and made a diagram and they called it the slice of Africa, where different parts was assigned to each nation like it was a puzzle piece. So you have to understand like how a whole hemisphere of the world benefited off the slavery of Africans. I can't think of any other system where the whole continent was used to fund other nations. And the way they funded it was through the labor of Africans. So you have to understand that
absolutely,
it's not the same thing.
It's not the same. I just hate it.
I'm
not saying you say it, but I just hear people do that.
I get it.
And bunch it all together. Everybody was enslaved. Slavery happened. No, that's so disingenuous to say that.
You are correct. But that's why I say, you know how I feel about slavery to this day. But like I said, I may feel like slavery still exists. Some people may not. But it's different slavery. But the point is slavery. Now you're right. The definition and the hardships and the conditions that you're dealing with is different. But you're right. You are correct. But back in the day, in other history, yes, they enslaved. They had others within their own nation or their own people as slaves. What we did, it was a different race that went out, like you said, and went to Africa, the slice of Africa, and got others to be their slaves instead of them just saying, all right, whomever's here that fought to create the United States, all right, they're going to be some that's higher up, and they're going to be whatever slaves or whatever. No, you're correct. They didn't do that. They went and got people from a different land. They got people from a different continent, different nation within itself, and enslaved them. But we know what that is. It's always a money issue. It's always a funding issue. So I'm not saying by no means is it accurate, is it correct. So I get what y'all are saying. Y'all are saying the other forms of slavery, at least they did it within the confines of their own their own people, and it was like more of a classism type of thing within your own nation.
Yeah.
It was
Like-
considered
like
a slave
peasants
back
and
then. It was
stuff like
essentially
that.
a worker.
It wasn't
peasant or
laws
something of that
passed where
nature.
you couldn't read. Like they had a whole America had a whole constitution implemented and set up.
Well, that was their form of laws and stuff like that. That was their form.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the laws
creating
how it pertained to slaves, you didn't see that anywhere else in the world.
The animalistic side of it too. Like America had breeding camps for African slaves. Like it wasn't.
Crazy.
It's not even comparable.
It's mind-boggling the way they just try. Like I said, it's to diminish slavery, chattel slavery in America, to bring up all other cultures have been enslaved. When they said it's to diminish the importance, the significance, the experience of people at that time that was subjected to those atrocious environments. Like you said, breeding camps where they would just get the biggest man, keep him in there, and just literally would just bring loads of women in there,
regardless if he was related to them or not either. That was a lot of cases. That was they say that where the expletive mother effer came from slavery, where like he said, the biggest, strongest men he would be used to breed, and regardless if he was related to the female or not, they just used him to breed. So like I said, from a
psychological, bro, it's crazy how they try. But now that we on this, because I want to ask you guys, did you see what Putin did, meeting up with all the African nations?
No,
Putin has forgiven $23 billion in debt from what's it called? Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, one of the African nations in Africa.
Okay.
He forgave them for $23 billion in debt.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about.
And he's meeting up with with a bunch of African nations, and he's also teaming up with the leader of Burkina Faso right now. What's interesting with Burkina Faso and Mali, those two African nations right now are backing Niger. France and Niger is going there. Niger has cut off all exports of uranium and gold to France. Uranium is what keeps up the nuclear power plants. It's like it's a very important mineral in France's nuclear setup. They cut off the exports. France is now threatening them with war. Burkina Faso and Mali told France, if you touch Niger, we're getting involved. Russia is in support of all these African countries. What's wild about France, as a man who had just talked about how France, when they took parts of Africa like a puzzle, France collects $500 billion every year from Africa for their natural resources. $500 billion. So that means that an African nation, if it wants to sell something, they have to come to France to get permission first. And if France says, no, I don't want it, those nations can't even sell it to another country because of the sanctions that France has on there. What's so interesting, now this is the craziest part of it all. These nations use their natural resources to buy the franc, the dollar from France. But in France itself, they don't use the franc dollar, they use the euro. So African nations is using their own natural resources to buy currency that doesn't even have any value in France. The franc has no value in France. They use the euro. The level of control that they have of a lot of these African nations is insane.
All right.
$500 billion they're taking. This is why this is big right now. What you see with Burkina Faso and Mali threatening France, because now African nations is coming and they're standing together, and to see Putin with it, it's even crazier.
Well,
it's strategy on his side, but it's strategic. But
it is strategic. So let me ask you this though. Going back to the discussion before we got on air, and even with the OG, was that a contract that was binding between France?
Yeah. France has a contract with Haiti, where Haiti's not allowed to export any. Haiti is still. I think Haiti just finished recently paying reparations to France, well over $1 billion, due to the Haitian Revolution.
Okay.
Going back to Napoleon.
Right.
From 1700s, France still had it set up where Haiti was paying reparations. They cut off all their exports.
They had used Citibank to do it. Citibank had held the loans that
Got you.
All those
that
loans
Haiti owned
that was like that. And you gotta
owed
understand.
to France.
So let me ask you this.
Mhm.
In other words, just like what we were discussing, is Putin getting involved to help out, but then in the overall scheme of things, some of like, well, now Africa will possibly be indebted to Putin if they win this.
They're working
this
together against America.
Huh?
They're working against Russia is against America. These African
right. So I'm sorry. I thought you said Russia was working with like some of the places in Africa in regards to France.
No. Russia is just teaming up with a lot of African nations.
He forgave the debt, right? He forgave
the debt in Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
He's just teaming up with African nations because he wants to. He's teaming up as a power move, exactly.
Yeah, he wants allies
against America.
Got you. Okay.
That's what he's doing. He's teaming up with them against America. And that's why America don't like Russia. That's why Russia is so demonized in the media like that. Because America, anytime America sees another nation that poses a threat, the media always portrays them as sick, crazy, a dictator, demented. That's how it's just a character assassinate the nation that doesn't go along with what they believe and how they want. They did the same thing in Libya. Remember, they talked about when Gaddafi. All Gaddafi was doing was he wanted to get rid of the American dollar. He wanted all the African nations to have one currency backed by the natural resources in those respective African nations. What does that do? That gets rid of American currency. Because if you're going to back the currency by natural resources in Africa, man, majority of the nations would be filthy richer than Manny is because they have all the natural resources and they won't need America. He wanted us to work amongst each other.
But in life, and America's standpoint, we need you to need us.
Yeah.
That's the way the world works. Right?
Well, we're on the verge of war right now. You have a lot of these African nations coming together.
Well, let's be real about it. Life is war. War is life.
No.
Huh?
No.
That's how many countries, many nations were forged.
It's not. I'm not saying that's not that. That's a Eurocentric way of looking at it.
There were holy wars. There were crusades. There were.
Yeah, you just named Caucasian history. That's a Eurocentric viewpoint, bro. Crusades.
You just named two big European wars.
Yeah.
Right, but not all the wars were just strictly European. Now, could it possibly be that the others were defending their land? I can't say per se, but I know that
But when it comes to war, the ones who knows war the most, the ones who's perfected it, is straight up European nations. They have perfected war because it comes from. I mean, all you gotta do is study.
So before the Europeans were supposedly founded on soil, there were no wars. There were no wars.
You tell me world wars that you knew about that existed.
Pre-colonialism.
I personally heard about.
I wouldn't say that there might not have been no disputes, maybe amongst tribes within a certain area, but world wars, going in, invading other nations, enslaving, taking away their resources, enslaving, murdering the women and children, enslaving. No. You've seen that come on the scene until when the European gains power. But all you got to do is just study European history. Look at how the Visigoths treated the Ostrogoths, the Franks treated the Anglo-Saxons, and all of that. Look at how they all interacted. They was brutal with each other before they spread that stuff to the world. They was brutal with each other first. They are the one, that war culture. They come that's how they operate from that perspective. Because that's a cold climate behavior. If you look at cultures that come from cold climates, it's more of survival. Nothing in hot climates, everything grows in abundance.
Right.
You have all the food, everything that you need to survive. You don't really need to go out and kill and slaughter to survive. In cold climates, you have to be more violent to survive.
Gotcha.
So the mind, that mindset, like I said, it's also
different.
But that war, like you said, that's not us. Life is not about war.
No,
we've adapted, we've learned, we've become because the one that's in charge of everything.
What I'm saying is, from what we know, Now it's survival. Those are tactics. But I did want to kind of talk about something. I saw a movie not too long ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about slavery in school and how this kind of correlates to some degree. It was a movie called Sound of Freedom.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
You saw it?
Yes, sir. A coworker
My
had
coworker
a
was
vote.
telling. Yeah,
Now, honestly, I really wanted to talk about this
Yeah.
type of topic
Yeah.
a while back, but we never really got to talk about it. Sometimes we were flowing, and I think I had a printout of the actual of the actual statistics in regards to this, but I don't have it on me now. I have to find it again. But I wanted to talk about basically the movie centered around human trafficking. And it was basically told about the story of a former Homeland Security agent, if I remember correctly, by the name of Tim Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
And he had found out about the actual inner workings and the actual business and the setup of human trafficking. That's crazy. Taking all the money from Africa.
Yeah.
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 What's going on, Ty? Salute.
Appreciate you, man, for joining with us, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
And I also
you tuning in.
I gotta reach out to you probably on IG in regards to I think you have a game night tomorrow. But yeah, it basically followed the story of Tim Ballard and what he had to do in order to be a part of the mission and the operation to help save children. If I remember correctly, see, I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe it was in Colombia. If I remember correctly, like that was one of the main operations in regards to human trafficking. So it was a powerful but sad movie when you think about it. I mean, this is nothing we don't already know about how human trafficking goes on even in this country and multiple countries and it was because first off it's a huge source of revenue as we all know. That's just one of the things within the pipeline of these countries.
But you know how hard they worked though to keep that movie. That movie didn't get no publicity. I had a coworker that went to go see it, and she said when she first tried, they told her that in the theater that she was in, that the AC was not working, that they made it really really cold or really really hot. It was so weird. And like,
Really?
yeah, you have like people talking about stuff like throughout the country about how they're making it difficult to be seen. And it's not good. Like they'll tell people, oh, that theater, while the AC and stuff is working in every other theater, the theater that movie's playing in, it's either very, very hot or extremely cold. They do things to make it uncomfortable so people won't last to watch. It's wild. But that movie didn't get no publicity, none whatsoever.
Yeah, it was a powerful.
It's
movie,
actually
man.
doing well, I believe, at the box
Yeah,
office.
it's a
So
powerful
they're
movie,
just not
man.
being talked about.
Yeah, one of my coworkers told me about it.
But when
and-
you talked about that, they called you a conspiracy theorist when you mentioned that a few years ago. You talked about human trafficking in America playing his hand in it.
Got you, Ty.
They called you a conspiracy theorist. You explained to me how 800,000 kids go missing every year in America.
Yeah, to see. So
How?
you do know the numbers.
800,000 children go missing in America. How does that happen with all these cameras everywhere?
Wow.
This is a police state. There's cameras everywhere. How does almost 1 million children go missing in a first world nation?
It's a business, brother, and you know why?
Come on.
And most of the time they focus on children because you know why? They're easier to control, manipulate, or discipline.
Sick,
and
man.
you want this to go on as when they get older. That's the only life they know. So that they're gonna stay within that workforce if you want to, but now that's a form. That's definitely slavery.
That's
It's
just incredible when you think about that, though. 800,000 kids. You know how many kids that is? 800. How? How does 800,000 kids go missing and nobody knows where they at? Just vanish. Almost 1 million children go vanishing every year in America. Nobody knows nothing. No, Nobody knows nothing.
It's a team. It's a
Well,
team
somebody
effort
does
to
know
keep-
something,
Yeah,
they're
it's a
just not
team
saying
effort to
anything.
keep.
Like, come,
on,
like,
man. Money
sick.
pays the bills, man. As long as everybody's gonna get paid and be taken
Demented,
care
man.
of, it's not gonna be spoken about so often.
And it's the human. It's the human. That human sex trafficking.
That's what I'm saying.
The human sex
That
trafficking
plays a
and how it
part, too,
pertains
yeah.
to children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you get them young. Like I said,
It's
you get them
it's
young, and you
sick.
build up that type of.
But those are the most valuable ones. Those are the ones that are wanted. All the kids.
I told you why.
They said between what is
Yeah.
the? It's from
I'll be right back.
5 to, I think 5 to 12. Anything over 12, they don't want.
What's going on, Wiz?
They don't want. What's up, brother? Anything over 12, they're not interested in. It's literally from the age 5 to 12.
Yeah.
You know, it's sick. It's sick, man.
It took a lot for that movie to come
It took
out,
a lot.
too.
Yeah.
Jump from different production companies, and then it was stalling, and took them a minute to finally get it out. But yeah, I saw it's doing really good at the box office, but it's just like it's obviously that type of movie's not going to get the media coverage it should.
Yeah, the kids, man. We gotta. What'd you think about that, AD? Did you heard of that movie? It's like yeah.
No, I didn't even hear about that. You know, I don't watch TV, so you know, stuff like that doesn't come across my path.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing research and looking for things, you know, I don't hear about it. But again, it's an atrocity, man, that this is going on in our country, and people act like they don't have a clue or don't know what's happening. We know that there's someone in control that is making that happen every day, and they're paying someone to keep their mouth shut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the whole Epstein Island, and everything. Probably a lot of the people that people look up to are involved in that kind of stuff. You know, Epstein's Black Book showed that. So,
but there's no pushback. There's no confrontation. People don't become confrontational over things like this. You got to be over things when it pertains to kids. That's why, you know, when it comes to the children with this whole trans movement that they're trying to, this agenda they're trying to push on kids. Leave children alone.
Well, yeah, the children are always going to be the focus because, like Adam was saying, about the easily influenced, or you know, you could mold them to think how you want them to think.
You know, and even on that topic now, California is California is see. I don't think the bill was passed, but they're proposing a bill that, and if you get reassignment surgery, if you become trans, your criminal record is expunged. So if you're a man and you become a trans woman, they will expunge your criminal record. This is I don't know if this bill was passed in California or I don't think it's been passed, but it was proposed that they're trying to do that. Expunge criminal records of people who were trans.
Cool. Well, remember, with anything, you have to give rewards for something that you're trying to usher in. It's a new type of it's a different, well, I can't say a different gender, but it's a different way of life. It's a different lifestyle. Like they're trying to usher in. They're trying to raise the percentages of that and normalize it. So
I don't even know what even the argument for that would be. Like, what do you think? Because it's a new person, like the crime doesn't matter. Like, I don't even know. Like, what is the argument for that? Like, it just doesn't even make sense. I doubt that's gonna get passed. I mean, the fact that it even got written up is just dumb.
Oh no, it'll probably get passed. My only question is like,
see, if you're an adult, you want to do that. That's your business. Leave kids alone. Let children be children.
See, like Ty said, oh hell no, you are who you were. Whole
record gone.
Oh yeah, whole record gone.
Leave kids alone. It's sickening that we are telling children, pushing children into this, and this is the scary part. This is the part that you got that. This is where it's going, because if you can now, if a 12-year-old or an 11-year-old has enough cognizant ability now to say that they can have their privates surgically removed.
Mm-hmm.
See, this will create the platform for the pedophile
That's
to
exactly
breathe
what
because
Umar said.
because now the pedophile can say if that child is old enough to have their genitals removed, how come they're not old enough to have sex?
Yeah, that's what Umar was saying.
Why they old enough to have sex? If they old enough to make a decision, a lifelong decision, why can't they be old enough to have sex if they're consenting? If this was a consenting adult and they're not being abused, it's sick. But this is where it's going. This is the environment that's being created. This is what's being ushered up with this nonsense, promoting this stuff to children, man.
Here's my thing. Like you said, if you're an adult, no problem. Or even if, okay, y'all want to usher in these children and stuff like that, although I don't agree, y'all are going to do what y'all want to do, okay. But don't make common citizens like have to go along with some sort of inclusion factor in regards to these people, because when these people say, "Oh, we want inclusion rights and we want to be equal," that within itself right there tells you everything you need to know. First of all, I shouldn't have to be inclusive with you with anything. Y'all want to be your own people? Okay, then y'all create your own construction work. Y'all create your own firefight. Y'all create everything that y'all want. I don't have to be inclusive because now you're stepping into a domain in which we might speak a certain way, we might do certain things a certain way, and you feel uncomfortable. You want to be inclusive. If, like they say, if you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. You don't come in here and then have rights for you and then think that you're equal. You're not equal. If you want to be equal, you give up all your advantages. You give up all the advantages and live equal along how what's considered and deemed to be equal. I don't have a problem with you being you. You are who you are. No problem. You know, if we had a certain place together, I'm not gonna shun you away or something like that. But I don't. But I don't have to. We don't have to make you inclusive to something if it's something that we're not used to and we don't care for. You don't have to be inclusive into something. If y'all want your own way of life, your own people that y'all can relate to and be familiar with, then okay, then y'all do what y'all do. That's fine. But we don't have to go along with it and be accepting of it.
I know that's the main pushback for most people anyway, is that they force it. They try to force it on everybody to go along with it. And
that's why I appreciated Jess Hilarious when she came out and spoke out.
About to talk about that.
I appreciated her. Shout out to her for that, man.
That? Who?
Jess Hilarious.
Oh, yes.
I appreciated that from her. I loved it.
Yeah. I personally, I don't know what's been taking so long. We need more women to say stuff like this too. Not that
in all honesty,
we need more
women. We really need more women because but that whole movement, 95% of the support is women.
I know.
It's all women that's supporting that. Yeah, so we need women to come out and speak up on that. We need to, because now they're going for our children.
They're just so much more unified. That's why. So it's
people are afraid to get canceled too. It's a cancel call. That's the in terms of in the entertainment space. That's
stand for some or you fall for anything.
LGBTQ, that's the untouchable group right now. You can't say nothing about them. If you want a career, you can't.
No, but no.
But that's the reason most people are quiet. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's why you should remain quiet. You should stand on your morals regardless. But
and like I said,
that's why people are quiet.
If that community, because right now, remember, every community, right? They want inclusion. They want equal rights. Then why you're not that you can't, but you're your own community. You already have people pouring in money for y'all to do it. Y'all already have more advantages than regular commoners. So at the end of the day, like I said, the only way that you do that, that's why I don't believe in this equality stuff. There's a balance. And if you wanna show me, if you wanna live in this equal world that you say there is, Give up your advantages. Let's be on the same field of play. Let's have a fair fight. But you're not going to do it. Nobody is going to give up an advantage that they have. That's what makes them advantageous. So at the end of the day, cool. You go your way, we go our way. That's why the sayings always resonate. Surround yourself around like-minded people.
Absolutely.
We're not. Listen, you are you, and we are who we are. There's nothing wrong with that. We can still coexist in this world. I'm not mad at y'all. I have nothing against y'all. But also, some of y'all want to be deceptive. You understand what I'm saying? But like I said, I have no issue with y'all. Y'all are still a human being. You know, if something were going wrong, I would still call the cops or the fire department, whatever, to make sure that your life is saved.
Wait, no,
I have nothing against that.
I have an issue with them.
What are you talking about? What?
I have an issue with them. I without a question have an issue with them because you are trying to influence and brainwash children.
I don't know if they're necessarily doing it. I think the people that are funding that
some of the people in that community, they're for it.
Bro, they got trans kids story time. When you got men parading around as women reading to kids. And the books that they're reading is very explicit sexually.
But that wouldn't exist.
Why are you reading that to children?
That wouldn't exist without the funding behind that.
And it also wouldn't exist without volunteers going out sitting in front of kids doing it.
We agree, but how does step one start? How do we start at point A?
The point A is the ones that want to live that life, go live it. Mm-hmm. Go. But why are you trying to bother people's kids? Why are y'all doing that? If you want to be over there doing what you do, fine. What you do in the privacy of your own home is your business. But the minute you try to bring what you do in the privacy of your own home to my front steps and my family, we got a problem now. There's a problem.
Let me tell you why that's happening. So as we know as parents, right, whenever we're out somewhere or we take our kids, the first thing the child will do, Mommy, Daddy, I like that. Mommy, Daddy, I want that. Mommy, Daddy, can I have? Right? Mm-hmm. So if the child is always saying to Mommy and Daddy, I'm interested in these things, and Mommy and Daddy want to please the child and make sure that the child has everything that the child needs, when the child starts speaking to Mommy and Daddy about these other things, the parent's going to listen. And then their heart, because they love the child, is going to go into a place where maybe my child has a point. So if they're brainwashed from day one, right, by the time they reach the age of 12, and they speak in this agenda saying this is who I am and this is who I want to be, there's two things going to happen. Either the parent can accept it or the parent can ostracize the child. Well, what do you think is going to happen?
If you're a real, I put it to you like,
what do you mean ostracized? There could be a form of discipline. There's nothing wrong with saying no sometimes to your children. Your children don't deserve everything. There are certain things that you listen, you're in the parent position to protect them from themselves.
Right, but some parents aren't that strong.
Oh yeah,
then
some
it's just like when it comes to women raising men, young men.
Agree.
They're not as strong. They're in their emotion. So they raise a young man with all that emotion. So when the young man grows up, guess what he got going on?
Yeah, he got those emotions.
Thank you.
Listen, well, then some people aren't meant to be parents. It may sound harsh, but listen. And sometimes y'all have to be on point with each other too. The parents can't be consistently conflicting like, yeah, let my child do this, let my child, and the other parents like, no, they're not going to do. You have to be on board. There's certain things that I believe still in positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement.
Okay, so let me give you something just as simple as this, right? Air Jordans.
Okay.
An expensive shoe, right?
Yes.
But how did that shoe become so popular to have the value that it has today?
Promotion, marketing, but number one,
no. We're not even going to do that.
The people.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about children. It was us coming up who loved Michael Jordan, saying that, yo, them shoes are hot. I gotta have a pair for myself.
That's what it
Now, in the
symbolized,
beginning, they wasn't that expensive.
Right.
But the more of us that start buying into that mindset, the more expensive they become. And now we as parents started spending the money 150, 200, 300 on up to what they cost nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
We are sometimes our own worst enemies because we don't take a stand
For
on
nothing.
value and
Absolutely.
principle and teach our children what the right way is to have or acquire things instead of appeasing them.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Listen, I got certain things, but at times, let me see the report card. Certain things, there are times I heard no. There are things you earn what you get. You're not going to be a D student and you think that I'm going out and getting you stuff because you want it. I don't give a damn.
No,
They don't run the house. We run the house.
Absolutely.
You have to work for what you get. I'm out there working. My significant other is out there working. You're gonna work.
Yeah, but that's for us. These parents nowadays are a different breed.
Well,
Okay, they're different type of
Because
parents.
I think what we do is though, because if parents too, if you have a child and they talking, they want to identify. See, we all mental disorders and things of that nature need to be all rated and graded on the same level. And what I mean by that is, if I say right now I identify as Mark, and then tomorrow I'm Peter, and then I'm this, I'm that, I'm gonna be told this person has a multiple personality disorder. Something is wrong. You cannot be identifying as all these people because you're not them. But if I go and say I'm a woman, that's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with that. When it's in fact gender dysphoria, a mental disorder. But that mental disorder is accepted and pushed and perpetuated in society as if it's perfectly normal. But if I say I identify, like I said, as different individuals, they'll call me, I said that's a multiple personality disorder. One disorder is deemed bad, not good, needs to be rectified and fixed. The other disorder is deemed acceptable, perfectly normal. You can't do that. Because if you accept one, you gotta accept all. You have I was just reading something. A dude in I forgot what country it was. He spent $10,000 on getting a dog outfit and like getting it surgically, a costume, getting it mixed into his skin because he wants to be an animal. And he's walking around like that. You see, when you open up Pandora's box, this is what happens. You can't now say, oh, no, that's not right, but this is. No, that's not right, but no, it's all nonsense. All of it. And as parents, if you have a child that's coming to you, kids that do stuff like that. Kids, as a kid, I'm Superman.
Yeah, because they're impressionable.
Yeah, they're impressionable. So kids do stuff like that. But if you have an older child and you see like they're say, no, I'm identifying it, then that you have to get that child help. You have to take the precautionary steps to protect that child. That's not something that is normal. That's it. There's two genders. Women are born with XX chromosomes. Men are born with X and Y. If you take a whole island, if you put 100 transgender trans people on an island, transgender women on an island, 100 years from now, you know what you're gonna have? They're gonna dig up bones of 100 dead men. Period. But if you put 100 men and 100 biological men, 100 women on an island, you know what you're gonna come back and find in 100 years? A community.
Absolutely.
You'll find a community. Come on.
But here's the thing that we got to be mindful about: names and how we address each other and what we call each other. So initially, when we're born, we're all given government names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in our neighborhood, in our communities, right, we don't always apply to those government names because we all got nicknames.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our parents always call us something else. I'm even guilty of that because I don't call my kids by their government name.
Right.
I have pet names for them. But also with those names come reputation. right? And when you have a reputation, you have to live up to those names. So in other words, if I'm calling Verge Big Verge now, from a kid on up, when he grows up, guess what he's going to aspire to be? A big guy that represents himself as a big guy, right? So if we're telling these young kids at a young age that they are not confused, they can choose what sex they want to have. Okay, about time they reach 12, 13 years old, they've already made a decision. And we have to take accountability on our part in those things because we're guilty. So we can't always go around and blame the establishment about what they're doing to us if we're doing it to ourselves in our own community.
But even if you make your mind up at 12, 13 years old, you're still not doing certain things until you are of age.
Well, here's the thing. You got to watch what you say about that. Because there was a time that at the age of 13, young women are getting married in this country.
Yeah.
And they live a full life married to that individual, right? Until they have kids, so forth and so on. And then when their daughters become of age, right? At 12, 13, they're looking for a husband for them already. And some of that is still in the book that young women can be married at that age here in the United States.
I think that's sick.
I mean, we probably look at it as sick because of what it's not really the norm anymore, but
that's not normal though.
Shouldn't be a norm.
But no, it was normal.
But we got to understand where it came from.
It shouldn't be a norm.
We got to understand where it came from.
You don't have your brain is not finished, fully developed until you're 25.
Right.
You don't have the cognitive. You don't have the brain.
A girl became a woman when she hit her menstrual.
Right. Exactly. And that's what they looked at.
That's what I'm saying. You got to remember. They want the fertility usage and stuff like that.
Okay, you still fertile at 25?
Brother. We're speaking from a United States outlook and stuff like that.
And a lot of those aspects too, though, the men.
Now where we are as opposed to what was back in the
but
day.
I'll be honest though,
and a lot of those aspects too, though, the men would be grown adults and the women would be 13. That's a totally different power dynamic. There's something that's not. She's not on equal footing with him.
Age gap was what it was, though.
But it was a control issue as well.
That's what I'm saying. So that's not a partnership. That's just you
sick.
That's
something wrong with you. You're a grown man, be married a 13-year-old girl.
A lot of things have been accepted in history. It doesn't mean they're normal, and that should be the way.
Slavery was one time normal and accepted, but it was barbaric and atrocious, but it was considered normal. So just because something may be normal, don't mean it's right.
Or accepted.
Just because something is accepted could mean it's sick, but it's still accepted.
Here's one thing we got to keep in mind is why does the United States exist the way it does today? And that's because all of the robbers, the rapers, the thieves that were doing things in England, instead of leaving them to be incarcerated, they put them on a boat and told them to go to the new land and build the land. If you do that, we'll supply you with the funding that you need, but you can't come back to this country.
So basically ostracized. Basically,
and that's how the United States was built. And the same things that they were doing over there, they came here and applied that sense, right? The first thing they did was they took the things that belonged to the Indians, right? That were here, the Native Americans that were here. And when they couldn't acquire it the way that they wanted to, what did they do? They started these wars and killed them all, right? And then they, oh my God, then they place them on a piece of land and tell them, this is your territory. And y'all can do whatever y'all want to do in your territory, but you come beyond that, you're going to have to deal with us.
Right.
That's why we have Indian reservations now. Sad. That's like somebody coming into your home telling you, you know what, from now on, you stay in the bathroom, the rest of this place is mine. You come out the bathroom, you're going to have a problem.
It's
vicious, man.
It's the culture, man. It's the culture of the people that are in power of everything. Their culture permeates almost every aspect of society, and we take those on and then apply to ourselves. This this topic, like this whole thing with the trend and all of that goes back to Rome. They had celebrations. I think it was in April where men would go around in parades as women and all this. That's their culture. They came in and evaporated our culture, eradicated, and replaced it. I replaced our holistic organic culture with theirs, and then we've taken it on as our own and been living life as if this is how we are. We perceive the world through the lens of them. So until we get away from that and detach ourselves from that nonsense, it's not going to get better. Like AD said, yes, granted the system will be promoting these messages to the children, but it's imperative that the parents work to fix it. And you have a lot that do. Yeah. But let me tell you something. The parents that are though, they're getting a lot of back. I just saw a video of a father going to a school to get his kid because the kid they had a transgenders there reading and parading and dancing, sexually dancing all in front of the children. And the staff and other parents of children there was making it difficult for this man. Was coming at him like he's crazy.
There are definitely parents.
There are parents that are speaking out
at like school board meetings.
In Washington, I believe, they're making it where DC? A child, DC, where a child that identify that they're identifying as a sex other than what they were born, they can run. You can leave your parents' home. You can run away and be housed in a facility that will cater to you, and you can get the surgery done without your parents' consent. So they're all parents that's out here on that type of time, but they're trying to strip the parental rights of parents to say you don't have a voice even with your own children.
Got you. Yeah, that's a crazy thing.
It's insane.
Do y'all want to possibly touch on the Carly Russell situation? Or
yeah, bro. Go ahead, definitely.
Yeah. Do y'all have some of the information in regards to the story?
I know the original case, the original story that came out, I believe, was that she was driving on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
She had claimed she saw a child walking along the side of the highway.
Yeah.
She pulled over, went to investigate, and I believe she said she was on the phone with someone as she was approaching.
And then they heard her disappear.
Yeah, and then she screamed after she had attempted to approach the child, and she went missing for what was it? A day or two?
On the highway.
I think it was two days. Was it 2 or 3 days?
Might have been something like that. Yeah.
Because it was like in her place of Hoover, Alabama, and stuff like that. But I think by July 20, because she had falsely reported to police that she had been abducted. But by I believe July 24th, she admitted that she fabricated the story. So now, I believe she has been charged with 2 Class A misdemeanors for faking the abduction, as well as false reporting to law enforcement authorities, and falsely reporting an incident.
I'm trying to understand the purpose. Like what?
Yeah, I can understand if it was a ransom and she acted like she was held at ransom and they were trying to get money or something.
I don't know. Maybe she was trying to get away from somebody, fake her own disappearance. Something like that. I could understand.
Was it attention seeking? I don't recall. Somebody was saying. Supposedly, they were saying on the internet. I think something about she had an issue with her boyfriend or something like that. Or I don't know whether it was attention purposes. But I know y'all not gonna like me for this. But this. What she's facing right now makes me want to ask you guys, in a circumstance that's not exactly related, but we're close to. Let's say if someone is accused of sexual abuse, and the woman goes and claims that. Now, if all the investigative work is done, and they find out that this was untrue.
Oh,
this was
okay,
false.
I see it.
Should the person who files the accusation, should they be under?
Of course.
Should they face some sort of charges to serve as a deterrent? Because I don't know how often this occurs, but from what I've known or heard of, it's not too often that these people face these charges.
Yeah.
We got up here.
What's that deal? Okay. Right. I remember you, Todd.
Tawana Brawley?
Tawana Brawley. Okay. Yeah. It was in 1987 when a black teenager, Tawana Brawley, said she had been raped and kidnapped by a group of white men in Dutchess County, New York. They were being attacked, scrolled with racial slurs, smeared with feces, and left beside a road, wrapped in a plastic bag, made front pages across the nation, especially after Reverend Al Sharpton took up her case. But as the
Al Sharpton look hilarious.
Grand jury later determined that Brawley had fabricated her claims to avoid punishment for staying out late.
That's crazy.
But
that is
so
wild.
OG, did she ever face any charges either? Oh, okay. Huh? Share the paper. Okay. And how do you feel about that? Are you in agreement with something like that? Sorry. Say that over?
He's gonna turn his mic back on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I know you. I think so.
Yeah. Whether it's restitution or something, because I believe
if it's investigated and proven that that person that was accused of doing something did not do anything, then that person that made that accusation should be held responsible.
Right. Money and time gets spent. I think that's why they having her paid. I mean, or facing each other. Because first off, the hours spent, the labor, the money and the time that you're putting in to help save someone or do whatever, or investigating what's going on. I think they even created a GoFundMe or something like that. I could be wrong.
That got a lot of coverage. This girl.
That's what I'm saying.
Carla, she got a lot
of
coverage.
Even stuff
they had a GoFundMe for her?
I think so. I will have to double check, but from when I was reading, I believe they had created a GoFundMe or whatever to
people
make
thought
sure,
she got caught,
or people were just putting out outcry like, "Hey, we need to find her." So let me pull that back. I'm not sure if they were GoFundMe, but the point is that it was, like you said, it made headlines and it was important, and they wanted to make sure that she was found.
Yeah, people thought she had got caught in some like human trafficking.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the first. I was like, oh my god.
So what I'm saying is that if accusations along the lines of sexual abuse or something of that nature come into play, and then the reports, the findings come back to be false, I believe that person needs to face certain type of ramifications behind it. Because what's going to stop you from doing that again? You can cry wolf for however long you want,
and you wasted police's time when they could have been investigating a real case.
Exactly. That's why I think for sure you should. And also, the person that's on the other side that's facing the accusations,
they'll have to be ruined.
Listen, if it becomes a big case, their name is getting ran through the mud.
That has happened to athletes
all the time.
That has happened to athletes.
That guy, what's his name? I forgot his name. One time, Kevin Samuels talked about his case or whatever, and where the lady claimed that he did something, and he did nothing. Even when he got out of prison, the lady hit him up and was, acting like everything was cool, and he had to find a way to set her up for her to come clean and say that he didn't do anything. You understand what I'm saying?
By then he done did time.
Oh, absolutely, and he never, you don't get your life back.
And nothing happened right after.
I don't believe so.
Now, a lot of those times in those false allegations, that nothing happens to the woman.
Yeah. So people that do things like that, they are truly attention seekers, and we have to understand that attention seekers at that level have an illness. Okay. And we have to find ways to get them the treatment that they need, because this here can destroy a life and lives, as in what Tawana Brawley did back in '87. It was an atrocity, not only that she fabricated this story, but now how does society look at our young black women, right? Because you set a standard. Then you have this activist, right, who is well known throughout the United States that's backing her, right? Saying he believes her story, right? So now you got a reverend who's well known, right, saying that this thing happened, and then at the end of the day, it comes to find out that it was fabricated, and both her and he had to pay restitution to the attorney Pagosi because they accuse him of being part of the situation.
Oh wow.
Sharpton had to pay $67,000 in restitution, and she had to pay $190,000 in restitution. And to this day, they just started garnishing her check. She was a nurse in Virginia, and she has to pay $600 and something when she gets paid out of her check. And Pagosi saying it's not even really about the money, it's about the principle, and she needs to publicly admit that she lied about it. So he said every time she has to send money to me, I want her to think about what she did.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's a deterrent.
Yeah.
It's to let you know, okay, you came forth with this information. We're glad that you came forth with this information. If this truly happened, if this were under the right, if this really occurred, good. We need your voice. We need more like you to speak up and let us know. That way we could do our job and play a part of the prevention team. In order from this to consistently occur, we want to prevent that. So, but now on the flip side, if you're here seeking attention, or you were just mad at someone and wanted them to suffer something because you were upset and emotional or whatever, then no, you're gonna have to pay a price, or you're gonna do some time too. Whether it's 30 days and a fine, or like some restitution fee, I'm good with that too. Go sit behind bars and understand what it feels like.
So in her case, right, she did what she did because she was afraid of the punishment she was going to receive from her parents. So she fabricated this lie that backfired on her. You know, so obvious she knew she had done something wrong, and instead of her owning up and say, yeah, I know I was supposed to have been home, my curfew, such and such a time, this is where I was at, she lied about the whole situation and caused a ripple in our community that makes people look at our young women a different way.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Unique. She said, that's your sister. She says, I think if a person claims any type of false charges, no matter what it is, they should definitely be charged. True indeed.
Absolutely.
You have to be ready to face the ramifications and repercussions of your actions. So, but shout out to Carly Russell. Hopefully, you'll rebound from this.
I do hope she didn't do that. Because, like you said, I do hope that she wasn't in fear for her life, and then she felt there was the choice to do that to get away from a dangerous type of situation.
Well, what do you mean?
I don't know. It could have been an abusive boyfriend where she wanted to run from. There are instances like that where people have fake deaths to get away
from people. Right, but then why would you come out later on and say it's a hoax? Get back together or whatever. So
you're right. Yeah.
So then once again, what is that? Are you truly in fear of your life? Which we've seen.
Yeah.
Sometimes even in fear of their life, they go back to what they know, whether it's out of fear or whatever. But
I don't understand the goal, the objective in doing that, and then coming back and then admitting it was false. You wasn't abducted. So then, what's your goal then? What are you trying to accomplish? What is your point in all this? Because it's one thing to lie and say you're abducted and you just disappear off the face, whatever. You just go do whatever it is you do. If you wasn't really abducted, fine. But that was just that you use that as a facade to act like you was, and you done left. But to come back and then admit publicly that it was nothing happened, you really wasn't. What are you accomplishing? What are you trying to do now? What's your goal in it? What was your goal when you said, "Oh, I'm going to come back and admit that this wasn't true"? That's the end all to your whole.
Yeah,
to this like
I have no idea.
I'm just very confusing. Like I don't know, but like you said, I hope more power to the woman. I hope she hopes she's okay and just.
True indeed. We're coming up at the 5-minute mark. We're about to wind down. remember I had sent you and Big Al vid. I just want to touch on it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it focused mainly on about I don't know if you want to consider it unionizing like content creators and stuff like that, but they emphasize the importance of being more willing to take risks in regards to equity
Mm-hmm.
when you're at those meetings and you have the ability, you've already created some sort of worth within your brand and what you're doing. So let the equity conversation kind of become more of the norm rather
Mm-hmm.
than just taking a check and
Going
following
on.
the structure. Hey, how you doing, Miss Sarah? How's everything
How you
going?
doing,
Thank you for
sis?
tuning in.
Appreciate you for joining in.
Yes. So I think they want that to become the norm because it gives you more leverage rather than taking a check and being part of the structure, which is fine. I mean, most of us common people are a part of the structure,
Mm-hmm.
but when you I think what they were trying to emphasize was that when you talk about equity, you're more willing to bet on yourself and say, hey, this is the risk I'm willing to take, even if it becomes nothing when it goes public, when it becomes a publicly traded company or brand. Being that we were a part of this and we help helped it become something, even if it goes down, even if the stock goes down, you were willing to take that risk as opposed to just, all right, here, take the check and let me be a part of what you're doing and whatever you say, that's what it is.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot, OG. So what is your take on it? Do you think that they should unify? I mean, we talked about it to some degree, even in as
Mhm.
artists and stuff like that. So what is y'all take on that in regards to being more willing to have the conversation of equity, even if you don't get it? Because those companies can say, wait a minute, you're not worth that. We're taking a chance on you at this point. What do y'all think?
I, I'm going to always say take a chance on yourself. Like, as we were talking about earlier with the whole record labels and being independent, take a chance on yourself. You know what you want to do. You stay focused on your on what the goals that you're trying to accomplish, and take a chance on yourself. I don't want to, you never want to be where you got to be dependent upon somebody, or you want to just be quick to make a decision and take a check, because you always got to look down the line, long term success over immediate gratification.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think in the era we're in now, there's just too many ways for you to be able to promote yourself, for you to try, have to rely on somebody else. Like with these streamers to the social media influencers to content creators, you have so many different ways you can market yourself. Where I don't you shouldn't need to rely on any corporation. Like you said, just trust in yourself.
All right. That's very true. Now, it's a long term. It's a short term versus long term view that you have to have. Now, like I said, if you go with the company that's willing to shell out the money, it's a certain system, a certain infrastructure that they're putting in. They already have some sort of audience just off of people that tunes into their own company and brand. So you have that. They might have a setup already put up there in regards to, that's why they were willing to invest the money into you. Now there are certain things that you're gonna have to bite the bullet on, whether it's possibly merchandising and well, whatever is in the contract or something like that. That's why you have to read the contract and make sure that you're willing to accept whatever they're willing to offer. Going back to what we said, if you're willing to do it independently, you have your team, y'all have y'all whatever is set up, whether percentages, whatever, and if you're willing to go the marathon, take that long long term stretch, which, like you said, that gives you more gratification, in my opinion. But if you're willing to wait long term and say, hey, we're gonna build up through this route, this is what we're gonna do, then I'll
Nothing worth having comes easily.
right, absolutely. And as Miss Tara said, she said, I love that. Take the chance.
Absolutely.
You know, there's nothing wrong with taking the chance. I agree. In this day and age, now I'm not mad at you. From now we flip the coin. Let's say you're an adult and you're trying to push those endeavors, and you have bills to pay, and you have other things to take care of. The check seems like it might be more beneficial at that moment.
Enticing, yeah.
Right. Now, also, as OG said earlier, you could view it like this. All right, I don't know all of the things that it takes to do it independently. If I get this check from them, okay, work my way up. And if we present ourselves as very valuable to this corporation or this company, we can always come back to the table and say, hey, listen, these are our wants and these are our demands due to what we have illustrated within our value and within a quarterly structure and quarterly what's it called? This is what we've shown through our work. Extremely is insane though. The money aren't adding up. Yeah. Well, of course those aren't adding up, Miss Tara, because when it comes to that, who's overseeing what it's worth? Some people still don't know what it's worth. You know, so at the end of the day, you may never truly get what you're worth, but then again, you allow what your worth is by accepting what the contract offers. So,
but when you accept what the contract, when a company that invests in you, what you're doing, you're building up their platform.
Yes, absolutely.
You're enriching their platform, whereas you could put that same focus on yourself, and all the profit is 100% and goes to you. Whereas you're not getting 100% of all the profit that comes to the platform. You're getting a percentage of it. You're not in a position to dictate anything or really argue anything.
True,
because you're not an owner.
No. You can argue certain things.
You have a voice, but
if you go to basketball, can the basketball players team up and argue for certain things? Sure.
But at the end of the day, the owners are going to get what they want. Let's not forget that.
Wait, hold on.
The owners are going to get what they want.
Maybe to some degree, if the football players walk off and say we're not doing anything until you do this and you do that and you do such and such,
and they're too scared to do that.
Most of the time,
let's be honest.
I was about to say the owners will give in. They're going to get what they want. Like I said, what do they want? They want the money.
Most of the time, people are scared of repercussions, though. So
they're not scared. They're scared of repercussions. But they're not doing that.
They're scared. They're scared that if they walk away, they will be replaced by the next person.
Exactly.
But sometimes you got to bite that bullet.
But that's a fear tactic. That's how you keep people in a subservient state.
Everything deals with a fear tactic.
Not with them.
You go to work, you have a possibility of being in fear that you can get fired.
Not if you're good at your job, but you know what you do.
Can be good at correct. We do have the fear. You can be great at your job. You can be great at your job, but when they don't want you anymore, they don't want you anymore.
Then you know what?
You can be great at your job, but if they feel like, all right, he's great at his job, but he always gives so much backlash. He does this, he does that. He can incite a riot in a work structure. He can incite the people to band against us. You can be great at your job, but you are more of a detriment to us now at that point.
But you're talking about people that depend on people to feed themselves. A person that's self-sufficient don't got that fear.
Right, exactly.
A self-sufficient person has no fear because they provide for themselves. You talk about people that depend on other people for survival. Then if you're depending on somebody, then you can't do it.
I've said it time and time again. We still all depend on people regardless.
Not if you're self-sufficient, bro.
Well, here's the thing.
If you go independent, you still dependent upon the people. You depend upon the people to get you your streams or your whatever to generate that money. People need people, no matter what we.
But you're the boss, though. You have to follow say. Can't nobody fire you? Can't nobody terminate you?
Not disputing that.
That's what I'm saying. But that's freedom. That's independence.
Listen, I heard somebody make a statement yesterday, right? And what they said is that
wealthy
people are wealthy because they have no income. What they have is value, right? And that's why they can do what they do.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give myself as a perfect example. Now, y'all know I work for this organization. I'm one of the top leadership, and I'm the second in line in my department. I know that there are certain things that I bring with me to the table that nobody can do. So the moment that I decide that I no longer want to put up with their nonsense, I know that what I bring to the table, I can go somewhere else and command exactly what my value and my worth is. And if they don't want to give me, then I can create my own. Right? But that's understanding who you are and what skill set you have and what you bring to the table. But not everybody has that mindset. So we have to start instilling that in our people at an early age, encouraging them, giving them the tools that are necessary so that when they get to a place where they understand who they are and value, they can command their dollar.
Absolutely. See, exactly. It's value. Yes, that's why I'm saying everybody. Tons of people put value in money. Like you said, the value is within self. You're going to create and generate the money, but like you said, by having a specific skill set, knowing who you are, and being willing to, like you said, sometimes that first deal may sound very enticing, but sometimes you have to say, no, I'm good. Or like you said, you know what? Y'all don't want to give us this number that we're asking for? Okay, we'll go generate it ourselves. We'll build up, because like you said, you might be willing to wait longer because it's fine, because you don't have to pay off all the, you don't have to worry about getting just paid by the company. You're getting the money straight to y'all, because y'all already you're independent. So like you said, now you don't have to worry about all this other stuff. So you can hold out. Because even if you make significantly lower, it's still all right within the group dynamic of it's all insulated, and y'all are funding it within.
Most people can't focus in on long-term success. They fall victim to immediate gratification. That's a matter of discipline. If most people put a hold on immediate gratification and focus on long-term success, a lot of people will be a lot more successful in life.
It's tougher. It's
hard. It requires more discipline.
And like I said, anything worth having doesn't come easy.
Don't come easy. Yeah.
I'm just telling you, when some people view family, bills, and stuff like that, like let's say if they say that they don't, let's say they have a job, right? They have a job, or they want to make this their job that's going to provide for that, then the check might be what it is to them.
Yeah, but that check also gonna come in. If you already got bills and things like that, don't put yourself in further in where you're gonna accumulate more bills now.
Right. Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? Whereas if you think long term, things can go differently, because you can plan out better when you look in long term ahead of time. But if you just go for the immediate and don't plan for the long term, that check might look good right now because you need it, but long term is going to backfire.
I think that's just telling of just how people in society are today. It's the dopamine hit.
That dopamine, quick.
We wish we had more time.
Yes, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in with us, guys.
We're about to close out. Please follow us on Facebook. The link is down below. Is it? Oh no. He didn't put it back up. But follow us on Facebook. I'll put it up on our page, and also follow us on IG, Instagram.com/New World Old Views. We appreciate y'all rocking out with us, and we shall be back August 19th, Saturday, August 19th.
Yes.
Most likely it'll be start time 12 o'clock, but we'll keep you posted along with that. Thank you once again to all our viewers. Share, like, keep us involved. Like, reach out to us. Let us know some topics that y'all want to discuss. Anything y'all want to say on the way out, fellas?
I appreciate everybody always tuning in.
Yeah, man. Always appreciate the love and the interaction. It's pleasing to see, man.
Yes,
it feels good to see.
Love when you guys comment and join in the conversation.
We appreciate you guys always spending your Saturday mornings or afternoon with us. Appreciate that, man.
Thank you. And just remember, on the way out, manage and balance out your short term versus long term.
Absolutely.
You gotta see what's worth it. You understand what I'm saying? Because we can always work for someone, but sometimes you have to know how to work for self.
Best person
And
to
that's
work-
harder, but more beneficial.
Best
Thank you,
person to
Miss
work
Sarah.
for is yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Always.
All right, y'all.
Signing off.
Peace and love, man.
Thank you. Have a great one. Blessings.